Good morning, everybody. It's time to clock in. Hey there, night owls, third shifters, and everyone grinding while the world sleeps. Welcome to Third Shift, where we stay productive, grateful, and energized during those late night hours. I'm your host, Eugene Basham, and tonight we're kicking off our very first episode called Gratitude in the Grind, Staying Thankful During Late Nights. Now, if you're like me, spending long nights awake can feel tough, but finding small moments of gratitude can turn that grind into growth. Tonight we'll explore faith, family, food, and fitness, what I like to call the 4 F's. So grab your coffee, your energy drink, or maybe just a comfy chair, and let's get into it. This first segment, faith and gratitude. I want to start with something simple but powerful, gratitude. It's easy to forget how far gratitude can take us, especially when the clock strikes 3 a.m. and you're wondering why you're not asleep like everyone else. But here's the thing. In those tired moments, there's something to be thankful for. Let me share a quick story. I used to work for the fire department, and we did 24-hour shifts, and sometimes we had to do mandatory overtime, which means we did 48 hours to 72 hours straight. And one particular time that I had to do 72 hours straight, I could not sleep. It was like, I guess you would say anxious. I felt like that next call was going to come as soon as I closed my eyes. And so I stood outside of the station and was just chilling. And I looked up, and it was like the most amazing star-studded night out. And I'm like, wow, the moon was huge. And, I was like, man, it's such a beautiful night or morning. And I really appreciate that. It was, especially being a firefighter, you really see that old additive that people would say that tomorrow's not promised. My grandmother used to say that all the time, and it's true that tomorrow's not promised. And so appreciate those small, beautiful moments, like a full moon, or someone saying thank you, or someone saying I appreciate you. All these things matter, and you just have to take those moments now and think, what's the one thing you're grateful for? It can be small. Maybe it's the warm coffee that someone brings you, just to show you that they appreciate you. But the fact that they made it should matter more than whether it's a hot pot of coffee or a hot cup of coffee. Just be grateful that somebody thought of you, because there are people out there that, don't have anyone. And I know we've personally, as firefighters, have gone to homes where the only person there is a nurse and a elderly person in hospice, or getting hospice treatment. And so you're like, man, they don't have any family sitting with them, just this kind nurse that decided to take some of her time off to sit there because she didn't want that person to be alone. And you're like, man, there are some great people out there, and to be able to appreciate those moments in those type of situations. And every situation doesn't have to be crazy or hectic for you to find gratitude and appreciation in it. You know, you just have to you have to seek it out, and a lot of times you'll find it's humbling. So just think about those things, and you'll realize that it's not the big things, it's the small things that you can be truly grateful for, and that pull you through the night and help you to stay awake and stay balanced. And another thing that helps you stay balanced is thinking about family. So let's talk about family. Balancing family and working, especially these unconventional hours, can be tough because you miss dinners, school events, or just the quiet moments with your loved ones. But there's a truth to all of that. And I've found this, out in my life, especially with me having a large family, and those who follow me in comedy know that I tell a lot of jokes about having 10 kids, and so, I probably get in the comments, do you really have 10 kids? Because every comedy show I do, people say, do you have 10 kids? And yes, I do. But let's get into this truth. And the truth is that it's not about the quantity, the amount of time you spend. It's about the quality. And I've learned that being with the fire department or traveling all over the world as a military member or spouse, and as well as an entertainer, that that the quality is very important. That sometimes those little moments with your kids, or that 5 minutes that you stop by your mom's house or your aunt's house or your brother's house because you're in their city, and and say, hey, I love you, you hug them. It's important. It matters to them, and it matters to you. And so that quality of time and those heartfelt conversations are very important. And so keep that in mind, and don't let your job create guilt, in a sense of wishing you were there for this, wishing you were there. You create that layer of regret that doesn't do any good for you mentally or physically. And so you basically create a little bit of stress that's unnecessary. Is the wish I would have type of a mindset is not going to help you advance forward in your work and your mental health. So don't do that. Just know, if you got 5 minutes to spare, if you got 20 minutes to spare, if you got 30 minutes to spare, then give it over completely to those loved ones. Spend that time with them, and make it valuable, not just to you, to them. So it's not like, oh, let's do something I want to do, or talk about something I want to talk about. Do something they want to do, talk about something they want to talk about. And and don't cheat yourself. Don't have that 30 minutes to an hour free and not use that time to create a moment, because then you did make a bad choice, and I know that from experience, and it sucks, and but you have to forgive yourself and do better. And so it's okay to make a sucky decision, but you do have to get over it and do better. And I have thoughts of, I have regrets that I've learned from, because it's been times when I'm like, oh, well, I'll see them the next time I'm in the city, or I'll see them the next time I'm in the city. And then I find out on Facebook they just passed away. And I'm like, I should have went to see them then. And, and hindsight is what they call 2020, but you can avoid those kind of regrets by putting your time in perspective and not focusing on what you could have did or should have did, and focus on what you're gonna do going forward, and just create those moments. I spent a great Thanksgiving Day with my father's youngest brother, and my father has passed away. He's actually the only living male on my father's side, the oldest living male on my father's side as well. And so, of his siblings, he has two sisters that are living, and he has two sisters who have passed. And so, it was a blessing, but it was also a moment of love and understanding from my wife and kids. Is they went to Savannah to be with family there, and I stayed in Florida to be with that side of the family, because, like I said, I've made choices in the past that I regretted, and this choice felt great, because as you get older, you don't know how many more Thanksgivings you got. And the same with your children. As they get older, you don't know how many you'll have with them, because they'll have lives, they'll have college, they'll have holiday trips they want to take and things like that. And you want them to live an adventurous and life and enjoy experiencing different things. So I'm not going to be like, oh, you need to come home for Thanksgiving, because if I had an opportunity to go and experience something that's a once in a lifetime thing, I'm going to do it, and I want my children to do the same. But, so you just have to look at your time and know that it is valuable, and that as you value your time and your friends' time, that you utilize that, and you give them opportunities to spend time. And if they're not available, you move on to the next. But sometimes when schedules conflict on both sides, and it's not just a work thing, I challenge you to do this. Send a quick message, thinking of you, or I appreciate you, or, thank you. And that'll go a long way. Sometimes when you can't see a person, or you don't have time to have a conversation, just saying, I'm thinking of you, or hey, I appreciate you, makes a big difference. And I can go on. I'm one of the reasons why I started this podcast, because I can talk. And so, let's talk about food a little bit, especially a lot of third shifters. If you look at like research, out of all the shifts, third shift eats the worst, and so that means that your health declines quicker. You know what I mean? And so, you know, let's talk about that in a perspective as far as work is concerned. Working third shift can mess up your eating habits. I used to grab whatever I could, usually not the healthiest, but over time I got better. I learned that the right foods can keep you energized without crashing. Tell you what, here's some quick tips of things you can have to keep from having those sugar crashes or energy crashes if you have an intensive job like I had as a firefighter. Pack high protein snacks with healthy fats such as nuts, boiled eggs, protein shakes, but avoid anything with high carbs and sugar. And just because it says 0 calories don't mean that you need to trust it as far as being healthy, because that just means it's ultra processed, and that processed food or drink can be just as bad for your energy. Sometime when you need that long, steady energy, oatmeal is a great way to get that at night. It doesn't bog you down as far as being heavy on your stomach. Some third shifters, the reason why their eating is bad is because they don't really like to eat while they're working, or because of the type of work they do. And so when they get off, at 6 or 7 in the morning, they have a meal and then go straight to sleep. And you basically are not resting. If you look at the research and what doctors are saying now, is that your body is using a lot of energy to digest your food, so it's not fully at rest when you're sleeping. That's one of the reasons why a lot of nutritionists now are putting the information out there as far as your last meal should be at least 3 hours before you go to bed. And that also is important for people who have acid reflux and GERD, because it allows the food to exit the stomach before you lay down, which means that you won't have an acid buildup in your stomach when you lay down. So you don't have to worry about it affecting your esophagus or anything like that while you sleep. So it's a lot of things involved in watching how you eat in the middle of the night, and you should plan almost how you do if you had a day shift job, where if you're a breakfast, lunch, and dinner person. Me personally, I don't have my first meal until 12 p.m., between 12 and 1. And then my second meal is no later than 6 o'clock. And so I'm done with food until the next day, it's not any type of intermittent fasting or any type of regimen like that. It's just when you look at how long it takes our body to digest and process food, you don't need 3 meals a day. We've conditioned ourselves to want 3 meals a day, but we don't need 3 meals a day. And in all actuality, if you think about the history of man, we probably didn't have meals every day in the first place. and especially us being hunter gatherers, and if you look at large populations of people, uh, it ain't no way that they had meals every day when they had to stay on the move from predators and other stuff like that. And that's a whole another rabbit hole. But it's really good to actually have a plan. And that's why a lot of, like I would say, firefighters, even police that work third shift, and nurses. And that's just all I know as far as like people routine that I've seen on a regular basis is that they start meal prepping, and meal prepping was originally started by people who had shift work, not the fitness industry. So when you heard meal prepping, now you think of you know nutritionists who have a workout routine set up for you, how many carbs, how many proteins, that type of thing. No, it's like shift workers knew, it was like had to prep either for the day or for the week so that way I can eat in a timely manner so I can have that consistent energy and consistent nutrition to be healthy and do their job. And in the same, so a lot of firefighters is if you meal prep as a firefighter, your day becomes a whole lot easier because it's not like it changes your duties. Like you don't have to clean the kitchen every shift because you're not cooking every shift. You're just heating up your food, and even if you're heating up your food either in the oven or the microwave, it's still less cleanup, so less you have to do on shift, and that gives you more time to either rest or talk on the phone or train, and so it's a value to meal prepping, not just nutrition wise, but time wise. And then it's always, you can restrict when you plan to restrict your diet, but you don't have to restrict your diet just because, you prepped a meal. You can also be like, okay, well, if I feel hungry or I've done more and I need an extra pick-me-up, there are healthy and unhealthy energy drinks. There are healthy snacks like granola as well as fruit. It's still ways that you can supplement and maintain. But let's move on, because literally I can go down a rabbit hole of alternative and suggestions and thought processes when it comes to food, and so which takes us to fitness, and one of the things you have to think about as far as fitness is when you have a third shift job is sometimes it's not an active job. It could be a desk job, and so one of the things I do, especially if we had a slow day, basically a slow day at the fire department is you basically sitting in the office section of your fire station, and so you might be catching up on reports. You might actually even be studying for a new certification or a requirement or refresher course, because it's kind of like you always got to have continuing ed type of courses as a firefighter to stay up on the latest research, especially if you're a fire medic and everything. So, and even like you might have to take a test for your new CPR cert, because firefighters have a cert for everything that they do. So it's one of those things where you could be sitting for a long time. So I do like chair squats. I'll do like 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 20. I'll get up and do maybe a jumping jack break. I'll do stretches like in the chair or whatnot, but it's all to help increase circulation and move, because that'll help with energy, but it also helps with digestion. And people don't realize that sometimes the reason why they're constipated is because they're not moving, and your body has to move, to help assist in healthy stool. Not, it'll eventually, but it could also potentially be compacted, and that's what one of the phases of constipation is. And so, it is important, and no matter what kind of job you have, to move in order to have a healthy lifestyle, which is really the goal, is to find different ways to move, whether it's desk exercises or on your lunch break. You eat your meal as quick as possible and as healthy as possible, and then you walk for the rest. If you only got 15 minutes left before you have to clock back in, you walk 7 minutes one way, and then you walk 7 minutes back. That way you got at least 1 minute to clock back in, and it shouldn't take you longer than that. We converted over to a thumbprint process and clocking in at the fire department, so it literally only took us about 5 to 10 seconds to clock in, if that. So there's options as far as exercise. Even if you're out of shape, I mean, you can literally raise your hands up and bring them down, and that'll increase circulation in your upper body. So basically like a seated jumping jacks. And the same with leg raises. Just raise. Any movement your body does is going to have a positive reaction as far as burning calories and increasing circulation. So you just got to move. I remember training a long time ago. I used to do a lot of personal training, and I actually had a lady who all she could do is lift vegetable cans, basically a pound. And so she would do her curls with vegetable cans. She would do basically all her upper body exercises lifting 1 pound, 16-ounce can of green beans or sweet potatoes, depending on what I grabbed from out of her kitchen that day for her to exercise with. And it was always something different because she was going to eat them vegetables, so it wasn't like she just had a regular set of green beans that she could lift with. No, it was just whatever was available in the pantry at the time. And so, but she eventually built up to where we were doing small 5-pound weights. And so, it's just you start out as light as possible. If I'm not, if I'm on the road, sometimes it's hard for me to find places to do pull-ups. And so I'll lose some of that pull-up strength. And so it's been times where I had to do 3 sets of 3 pull-ups till I could get back to my, 3 sets of 20. And so, yeah, a busy schedule and, not having an opportunity to do the exercises you want can affect your health or your strength. Like, you can still be healthy and not have as much strength as you would like. And don't let that discourage you. It's just another opportunity to get back, to build back up, and do your best to try to keep it. But if you lose it, like me, I lost being able to do full splits, but I work on it and I get it back. So this time now I'm going to work on it again and get it back. And maybe in some of these episodes, I'll show you some of the exercises I do to develop my flexibility to where it was when I was competing as a black belt in competitions. And we'll have fun with it. I'm hoping to be more interactive, to bring guests to the show and whatnot. And I know I would say it's a rough show for the first time because it's my first time. I don't normally talk in front of the camera this much. I'm usually the one getting the interview. So to have a show is kind of weird, but it's also kind of important. I feel like if I'm going to be up all night because I can't sleep, part of it is because I'm stuck on that firefighter schedule, Another part of it is that sometimes you just can't sleep. And, just like all the other night owls and third shifters out there, this is just an option to do with your time. We can have a conversation. You can chime in and tell me what you think and make suggestions that, somebody may actually be able to take to heart. So I feel like this it's going to be a great opportunity to learn from everyone out there and be able to, take this podcast and be very informative to people. And so that, we've talked about it a little bit today. We've probably been on for about 30 minutes. I don't think a podcast needs to be longer than that unless the wheels are really going. So this is tonight. I will mention this because I didn't when we was talking about fitness. Breathe. Like, if you can't do anything else as far as exercise, as far as gratitude, or even when it comes to your eating. I mean, it sounds crazy, but even when it comes to eating, breathe. Like, if you could take 3 minutes out of your day and take deep breaths in, fill your lungs as much as you can, as much as you can. What I mean by as much as you can, like your lungs are full, not that. That's a different type of breath that it can make a difference as well. But just deep breath, push it all out. Do that for 3 minutes. When you can't exercise, even when you have time to exercise, always include that 3 minutes into your day because oxygen is incorporated into every function of your being. Oxygen is, whether it's your thought process, digestion, the way your food is being used as far as energy. After it's digested, then it is used, for fuel, for repair, and all repairs have a oxygen function as far as catalyst. And so whenever you're dealing with a catalyst, as most firefighters know, you have to have oxygen, for that catalyst. And so breathing is very important, especially when you're thinking about gratitude. One of the most healing factors as far as mentally and physically is when you think about the things that you appreciate and that appreciates you. When you actually think about them, it actually releases hormones in your body, and as you breathe and increase that circulation through your body, it changes not just who you are, but how you see yourself. You know what I mean? So it changes how you see yourself for the good, and as opposed to negative. It's like it's one of the most powerful things as far as mental health is concerned is being grateful, truly grateful. That's why people cry when they feel grateful, when they have that gratitude towards God or whatever they believe in. If you're in a car accident and like I've seen car accidents where the whole car flipped and you survive it with no I kind of paused because we had one call that the young lady had passed away, but the boyfriend sitting next to her was uninjured at all. But she passed away on scene, and it's like I don't know what he was feeling, but you can only think that if he's alive and well today, he has to be thankful, because it could have been the other way around, and that but you probably had to get over the heartache too of losing his loved one, and but he had her for the time he had her, and so it's just your mindset and how you think of things. But as you pray and meditate over things, you see the world and you see your situations differently. But let's close out by saying that, appreciate you guys listening in on this episode of Third Shift, where we've explored gratitude, family, food, and fitness. I hope you found something to take away from everything we talked about this morning. Remember, it's the small things like stretching, snacks, or even being thankful that can make a difference. Next time we'll dive into how to realize and handle toxic relationships while holding on to gratitude. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. I know I don't sound excited, but I am. I'm new to this and getting used to it, but also I've been up all night, so I'm really trying to, think about how to do this best and pick topics that a lot of us are up all night thinking about. We're thinking about, our faith. We're thinking about our family. We're thinking about food. And we're thinking, oh man, after eating that, I probably need to do 100 push-ups. It's different stuff. But, I'm Eugene Basham, and I can most definitely talk your ear off. Thank you for listening to Third Shift. We appreciate you. Good night. I'm clocking out.